Welcome to Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned. I am your host, Austin Owens. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Please welcome our guest, Craig Kunkel. This man has deployed 6 times, earning his Bronze Star Medal. One of these deployments was with me personally. And needless to say, one of the best leaders I've ever had. This man would give you the shirt off his back and would never ask you to do something he would not do himself. Thanks for being here, Craig.
No problem. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, man. I'm so stoked to have you on. You have no idea. I was like, shit, this will be awesome. Let's dive right in. Highlighting your military career. What made you join up?
So I joined in 1991 originally in the Marine Corps when I lived in Alexandria, Virginia. Upon graduating high school, I joined the Marines. I did 4 years as a motor T operator, truck driver. Got out. Then I moved to Nantucket. Was kind of like a chef out there for a while. Moved back and forth from Virginia to Nantucket to Richmond and Denver, Colorado, and then came back in the Army. I was going to go back in the Marine Corps, but they were like, "Oh no, you're going to go back through basic training." I was like, "Fuck you," and I'm not doing that. So I joined the Army Infantry in 2002, November 11th of 2002, and I've been infantry for 20 years. 20 years and 4 months, and now I'm fully retired of 24 years.
And I don't think most people know, doing 20 years in the fucking infantry, that's hard shit. Most people, they'll get their 7 and then dip out to another MOS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And like I said, I know before when one of your deployments was with me, It was awesome to have you too. You were. I have so many funny stories regarding just you beating the shit out of us with 2 fingers. That's always a classic memory of us. Maybe even Novak asking you. He would ask you to go somewhere one time, and then he was like, "You're like, nah, man, we gotta do this and this." And he's like, "Bet you if I had a 38 to your head, you'd say yes." And all of us are like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?" You just laughed it off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That dude was crazy.
He got to. Oh, Novak was awesome. He was crazy, but he was you could ask him anything, like when was the first Super Bowl and who played the quarterback. I mean, he was kind of like a Rain Man.
Yeah, he would give you the date, who played, who was the MVP, all that shit, the score. Yep. Yeah, I know. That was so fun. Oh my gosh, I have way too many funny stories about that fella. Oh my gosh. We actually have no one's heard from him for a bit, so if you ever hear from him, we're all looking for him. But speaking of being in the Army and speaking of being leadership, give me your best, I don't know, Joe's story, private story. I know there's always some good ones.
Okay, well, I got a lot of them, but
sure you do.
I'm sure you know this individual, and probably anybody who's watching. Within our first infantry 116 days knows who Kiggins is.
Say that again?
Kiggins.
Of course. Kiggins. I'm sure a lot of the stories. I have way too many. I'll never forget coming out of the B hut in Afghanistan, and he was dressed in the exact same clothes as me on purpose, and he was just standing there, like what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Yeah, but so when we were getting ready to deploy, I think we all we had this regiment inside in the COF, and I said, "Hey, get off your phones." We're going outside the train, and we did a lot of tire training, ruck training, running, and stuff like that. And so this one day, Sergeant Franks was in the COF, and I was in charge of Kiggins in the squad and whatnot. And Kiggins is in the corner on his phone. He's just I yelled at him. I said, "Kiggins," I'm not going to repeat what I said to him. I said, I think everybody in the COF stopped, and it brought him to crying moment. And I was like, "You need to put the phone away now." And then I actually talked to him 2 weeks ago, FaceTimed him, and he's like, "You changed my life for that," because I told him, I said, the phone is your problem. And I was like, and that's the biggest issue with a lot of privates and soldiers these days is this thing right here is a magnet for them. It distracts them from everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see it everywhere right now too.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, Kiggins, he was probably my most challenging soldier. I've had other challenging soldiers, but I
Oh yeah.
loved it. I loved taking a challenge on in a leadership position to make sure that they're molded the correct way and teach them the correct way. Especially being in the infantry. I mean, it's a hard job. It's not for everybody. And
Yeah, for
for
sure.
kids that come out of high school that thinking it's going to be an easy, especially when you're going on a deployment to Afghanistan or to Iraq or wherever, you have to understand that it's you live or die, and that's it.
That's the truth, 100%. And some people are made for it, and some people aren't. I feel like I mean, I'm sure you experience that more than me, but like you can see it instantly. I mean, it fucks with some people. Especially afterwards, it fucks with some people, and other people just are able to compartmentalize it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. I mean, it all how you deal with it and how you deal with adversity and in the moment. And I know that we had like times on Penich where we're getting mortared, and it's like I'm laughing it off, and it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
fun, and everybody, they got Kiggins in the corner crying, and people
Oh yeah.
in the mortar pit. You guys ran to the mortar pit all the times, and we're in the bunker waiting for you guys to return fire. And then me and Franks were like one day like in the bunker, Kiggins is like going crazy. He's like screaming. I was like, shut the fuck up. If we're gonna die, we're gonna die. If it's our time, it's our time. Nothing's gonna happen. I mean, and then everything was fine.
Oh
So
yeah, right. It doesn't matter. I remember after a while, you get so used to getting mortared. You just like, I'm not leaving the fucking chow hall right now. I am in the middle of my food. I was actually just talking to Coons. I don't know if you remember this. We used to go up there in Ranger panties and fucking flip flops. And one day that motherfucker drops a 120 round and breaks his toe. And then so we weren't allowed to wear flip flops anymore at the mortar pit. So we showed up
I
in Ranger
remember
panties and
that.
fucking boots instead.
Yep, I remember that.
I was just
Absolutely.
talking about that. Oh, those are funny
Yeah,
times. Even I had
yeah.
Austin on here. We were talking about picking up some. I remember picking up some guy in a side by side, and then like just leaving him in the side by side and running to the mortar pit. And like, hey buddy, you're on your own. I got a job to do.
Yep, I remember that. Oh yeah.
So as we're talking about that year, let me hear like your favorite most memorable good moment that 2011 deployment.
Good moment.
Good
Oh,
moment, a
there's a
funny
lot of them.
moment. I mean, whatever.
I think I think when we got there, like we went from Bagram, we got from there, we got on the plane and we went to Jalalabad, and then we stayed in Jalalabad at um, the ODA B camp, whatever it's called.
Camp
And we
Dyer, I
stayed in
believe.
the yeah, and we stayed there, and we met some people, and then we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be going to Penance, and like, oh, good luck with that. But I think when we got on the helicopters and we got there, we were loading up at nighttime. The culture, the CST team, the female team was there, and
Yeah.
I was like, where are you guys going? Oh, we're going to Penance. I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. And so we get on the helicopter, and it's like we land pitch black. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember this. We land at the X-ray pitch black, and all these guys are coming up on four wheelers, and we're like dropping bags, and they're like, "What's up, dude? What's going on?" Beard down to here, long hair, and I was like, and in the back of my mind, I was like, "Okay, this is cool, but really fucked up because I have no idea where I'm at."
Yeah. You couldn't
But
see
it's cool. I mean,
shit.
yeah, you couldn't see. I mean, it was pitch black. I mean, you're going from like light to dark, and you never really dealt with that before because we never had I've never had a soft deployment. They have told us about it and this and that, but once you experience it and you get into the life and getting on the camp and being embedded with those guys, now I look back on it, I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And
Oh,
like, because we did that. We picked people up at nighttime and they were confused and like, hey, here's your bag, go get it.
yeah. There are a lot of times where you think back and you're like you just do what you were told, but then you look back like, man, that was kind of goofy, huh? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Like remember, I'm not. First name's Mark. Remember the little thumper he used to always bring, the little
Oh yeah,
fucking like shit like that. Yeah, that was like just normal to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess this is how it goes, you know. But
yeah.
he's shooting that little fucking breakneck 40 mic launcher. That was
Oh
crazy.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Like shit like that. Like
He was a good dude.
I wish my
Yeah,
memory was better back then. I wish I paid more attention.
yeah. I mean, I can. I mean, once we start talking and we, go over memories. I remember the time we get mortared all the time. Like I think it was like when we moved out of the tents. Remember the tents that we were in as soon as
Yeah,
we got there because the B hut wasn't done.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're gonna fucking die. And so like we're getting mortared and we're going to the mortar pit and this and that, and like we go into those rooms and finally get in. And I think it was like maybe the third or second week we were there, and we are getting mortared. And like I think it was the 25th or the 101st. Their PX got hit, and
Oh
their
yeah,
front end loader got hit.
yeah. I
They're
remember
like,
that.
the fucking PX got hit. No more fucking no more, cigarettes and dip and stuff because you couldn't get it because they had to bring it in, and they only open it one day a week or something like that. And it's like, oh, and I'm like running around, jumping off like the HESCO barriers. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I don't remember who was with me, and then I think Franks was like, hey man, you need to like get in the bunker. And I was like, fuck it, this is fun. So, but yeah, it was a great time. I loved it.
Oh yeah, like I remember that. It was like, yeah, it was like when the first few weeks we were there. That was like our first time like really getting like fucking blasted by mortars. Like, you know what I mean? They actually were landing on post. I want to say,
Yeah,
yeah,
they were. They zeroed us in pretty good for that, and then they returned fire, and we wouldn't. I mean, it would be that was kind of like in the middle of the day. We usually get it at nighttime or early morning time,
yeah.
um, but from Pooh Hill,
I remember getting
I think.
dinner and then going to chill at the mortar pit. Like, oh, it's
Yep,
about 5:30. They should be hitting us
yep,
soon, you know?
exactly. And when you guys went through that 18 Bravo training with those guys,
Yeah, I remember. I don't forget too. Like, you know, because the 101st, their mortar pit was right next to ours. And
yep,
we'd be just launching, you know, Willie Pete, just, you know, whatever he felt like doing. And these guys were just chilling, waiting for clearance, waiting for
yep,
clearance. And I just felt so bad for them, man. It's like they had so many, like, rules attached to them that it limited their safety, you know?
oh, absolutely, yeah,
It was unreal.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it was a fun deployment, and that was my first soft deployment. I mean, I've been on 6 deployments. I mean, two soft. My last one in 2018 was another soft uplift as well. Then I recently came back from Iraq in 2020 um, for Fourth ID. I was a brigade senior NCO up there. I was the operations NCO up there. Ran all the different countries that we were in and stuff like that. Can't really talk about much about that. So,
Sure. Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
2004 was probably my most hard hitting, I guess,
If you don't mind
deployment.
sharing some of that, I'd be interested to hear.
Absolutely. 2004, we were in Mughdadiya, Iraq, during the like the shit, and I was a gunner on a Bradley. I think one of the pictures I sent you is when I was a gunner in Iraq and we moved to Najaf and in Bakuba, Iraq was where we really did our work. It was the Al Sadir time frame where we got mortared, we got ambushed. I mean, we got ambushed from like I think my Bradley got hit. It was April 11th, 2004, April 9th, 3 days before my sister's birthday. We were moving to contact, and this guy up the road, and I told my platoon sergeant, I was like, "Hey man, there's a guy up the road, two guys up on the road on the right hand side." I was like, "Can I engage?" He's like, "Nope, can't engage." I was like, "Motherfucker, they're gonna hit us." We had dismounts on the ground, but they couldn't see them. I had the thermals, and so they went up, and we went up maybe a half a block, and man, that guy fucking nailed me with an RPG 7 right through the turret of the Bradley. Knocked me out. My driver got knocked out. We thought we were dead. I got concussed, I got knocked out. They're like, "Oh, Kunkel's dead." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "No, I'm good." Woke up and it was a mobility kill because it went through like the right side, or was it the right side of the Bradley turret, and then the shrapnel went into the engine compartment and cut some of the lines, the water lines, and so we had to get up on top of the Bradley and start pouring water bottles in there to get back to the little outpost that we were at.
That's crazy.
And then as we were getting into the outpost, we hit fucking barbed wire, so that got cut up into the tracks, and so
Yeah.
then we got mortared again. I think we did that deployment was probably out of 365 days, we probably fought like daily 340 days. I earned my CIB within the first 30 days of the deployment.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I know from like just some history, I guess, like those are some of the
yeah,
craziest years to be out there. It was very intense from what I've heard.
yeah. So the Medal of Honor went on David Bellavia. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Hmm.
Wrote House to House. So he was in my unit. That was the time frame that it happened. He was in Charlie, or he was in Alpha Company. I was in Charlie Company. And when they went to Fallujah, we stayed back on Camp Normandy, and pulled security on the post there. And when they came back, we went to Mosul, and we kind of like flip flop because that company went to Fallujah with a couple people from our company, and then we went up to Mosul, and Mosul was a crap house, and it was just, I mean, saw fighting up there every day. You living out of warehouses and doing patrols and taking contact and car bombs, and yeah, it was fun.
In our own sadistic way.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about being an infantryman. You look back at it now, it's like you don't think about the things that you're doing on hand. It's just all the training that we've done in the years
Yeah.
leading up to it. It automatically goes in the hand. So I mean,
Sure.
but
It
some of
should,
the stuff that we did was probably stupid. But it's as long as you have good leaders, and I had good leaders who led me through that time. I think helped me mold who I am now and who I was in the military to ensure that the leaders that are coming up in the ranks now are doing the right thing.
sure.
Because you have people that out there that don't know how to lead. They just know how to lead because of shaming them or yelling at them. Because you're not going to get anything out of them if you yell at them. I mean, yeah, if you're in the heart of the moment, yes, you're going to have to yell to get your point across, but they're going to shut down.
Yeah.
So
And I was really lucky too. I mean, I had nothing but good leaders. Like even back in the States, I mean, we had Porter, we had Franks, Heil.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
all great guys that I still talk to this day. Well, with some of them, I guess. But yeah, I think really lucky. I follow that like U.S. Army what the fuck moments. If you follow that on
yeah,
Facebook, I mean, some of that
yeah.
shit is unreal. Just the dumb shit
Oh
of the
yeah,
army, And other times it's just like people need to stop complaining too. But it goes both ways.
it is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's never going to stop. Like if you look at the military from the time it was established, in, back in 1700s, right? A private and a sergeant are the same now than they were back then. We wear a different uniform, and we in a different conflict. But you have officers; they're always going to do officer things, and the NCOs are going to do the NCO things,
Yeah.
and privates are going to do private things. I mean, if you look at pictures from the Civil War, you'll see privates sitting with privates doing dumb shit, and you'll see
Throwing rocks and
NCOs.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sitting around a campfire, and then, or now it's going to be around a burn pit or whatever, or
Sure.
a cell phone or a cell phone. But yeah, it'll be like that until the end of time. I think. And
I can see
that's
that.
I think that's the great thing about the military. The camaraderie is just it'll never end. I mean, once you get into the brotherhood, it's always with you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. It's actually one of like I feel like the hard part of getting out is losing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how you deal with it. How many years did you serve?
Well, about 4.
Okay, and then I did 20. So, I mean, either 1 year, 2 days, whatever. It's a camaraderie of brotherhood. And I mean, you'll always remember the times who you served with.
Yeah.
So,
And like, with Facebook and stuff like that, it's nice to be able to keep in touch with you guys. You know what I mean? It's just, even if it's a little
absolutely.
bit, like, I don't think we even need to reach out to each other to know we're there for each other.
Yeah.
That's how
As
I feel,
long
at
as
least.
you can comment or say hi, that you know that someone's saying hello, to kind of like reach into that person's life, which is great.
Yeah.
And to do like a buddy check. I always do buddy checks on Facebook, and that's why I got Facebook and all that stuff to kind of make sure like Kiggins went through a really hard time with his son
Yes.
passing away, and then he has a son now with his wife. I can't remember his wife's name,
Rebecca.
but Rebecca, that's right. And he went through a really hard time. Um, and I always, text him, and always it's good seeing that he's doing well now and he's
Yeah.
actually matured. So
Yeah, I remember, from a lot of soldiers, I don't know, a few guys, have come to me and like, what can I do to help myself? And it's always comes back to the same thing. It's like, how much are you drinking? It's
yeah,
just so common with the drinking thing. Like, how much are you drinking? Oh, every day. Well, it's like, well, maybe cut that back and things will go a little smoother.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like with me, I'll have like 1 or 2 beers a week. My regiment is like still, I've done it for 20 years. I get up. I mean, now I get to take my daughter to school, which is great. Drop her off at school. I go from school to the gym, or if I have a meeting or work something going on with recruiting or whatever I'm going to be doing next, I do that. But I always do my regiment
Same.
because it keeps you alive inside in mentality. Because like Jocko even said it, like you got to train your brain
Yeah,
and
for
your
sure.
mentality. You got to stay disciplined, and that's my biggest thing is staying disciplined in your daily life. I mean, because a lot of veterans turn towards drugs because I'm out of the military. I can do drugs now. I can smoke weed. Okay, and alcohol. We've all done it. I know a lot of people have quit drinking, quit smoking, quit all that stuff. And I live near the mountains. So when it gets warmer out, I take my daughter, my wife, and we go up to the mountains. We do trail walks, um, and it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
It's my time to like after I get off the call with you, I'm headed to the gym. So
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, even on like my rest days, I'm kind
yep,
of I don't know. I kind of heckle everybody else in the house. I have nothing else to do in the morning, so I'm like, yeah, like what do you want to do today? And everyone else is used to relaxing. I'm at the
yeah,
gym, and so yeah, it's hard to have off days. It just keeps me straight and level. And like if I'm gonna focus on something, I mean, my health is a pretty good thing to focus on.
yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're an artist too, and are you still doing tattooing?
Oh yeah, yeah. After graduating, I went back to it, and it's so nice to have like that outlet again. Because I wasn't really drawing when I was in school. I was actually I was building stuff here in the homestead. That was kind of like a good outlet for me in replace of. But yeah, I'm loving drawing again. It's just been good to
That's
have
good.
that going. And the wife is back to tattooing, which she missed a lot too. So everyone in the household is happy this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So like, what's your retired life look like now? Let's get into that.
Well, the retired life is I really don't do shit. I I'm actually in the process of going the hiring process for the CSPD here locally,
Okay.
for the police department. So, and I've always wanted to do that. So it's kind of like a duty thing for me. I've always wanted to be a police officer when I was a little kid. I've always wanted to be in the military. It's not a check the box thing. It's a to be back part of the brotherhood. Yeah, I'm a little older, but I think I'm a little better shape than a little others
Yeah,
than
sure.
uh, um, these younger guys and older guys. I would say I got to work on some things, but that's what I'm looking for. I just did my psychology thing yesterday. I do my medical on the 22nd, my PT test on April 23rd, and then the academy is in July. It's 24 weeks. So
You get hired right on
is
the
it gonna
department afterwards.
say again?
Do you get hired onto the department right after the academy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're hired through the academy, so you get paid through the academy,
Oh shit. Okay. Cool.
which is great. Um, on top of my benefits from the military and stuff like that, which is nice.
Yeah. It takes the
Um,
pressure off.
it's a different world I want to learn about. With everything that's going on in this world, I want to be able to contribute the good leadership portion of that, bring my leadership into the police force and the law enforcement, which I think I can hopefully determine right from wrong. Because there's a lot of stuff going on out there right now,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
which is a lot of people don't like police, but it's who you are and how you come up to situations, just like in combat.
Yeah, sure. And like one bad egg can ruin the bunch. I mean, that's what's highlighted so everybody sees.
Exactly.
I mean, I
No, I
have
agree.
my brother-in-law is law enforcement. One of my best friends, law enforcement. I heckle them still to this day, though, for being a fuzz, but it's because it's fun.
But we live. I mean, I live in Colorado Springs. I mean, it's marijuana is legal here, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of illegal activity. I myself don't want my daughter to get into that. There's MDM. There's now the mushrooms are coming up to be legalized in Denver. I just don't want her to fall in that trap. You know what I'm
Sure. Yeah.
saying? It's a lot different from when I was growing up, but there's a lot of crime, which I want to stop, pretty much, and help this community.
How is it out there in the Springs? Like, it's pretty congested, isn't it? You guys live in the city?
No, we live out on the outskirts of
Okay.
we live out by Stetson Hills. So like we're on the eastern front of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
Right. So like 24 is like maybe a mile away from us, where you can get on the head to Kansas.
Sure.
So we're on the in the front range. So it's pretty nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if like the crime was bad there. I've only visited the Springs. I never really stayed down there.
It's bad in certain areas.
Just like anywhere else, huh?
Just where I mean, just like I mean, in Ohio where you live. I mean,
Oh yeah.
down in Cincinnati or where I grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, or DC or LA, and everywhere has a real bad area.
Sure.
So
Did you hear about that shit that happened out here in East Palestine? The train derailment?
yeah.
It's like 30
Oh,
minutes south of me.
really?
Yes.
That's
It's
fucking
just crazy,
crazy.
man. Like chickens are not my chickens, but other chickens are like dying and dogs are getting sick and fucking nuts. And I saw Biden gave I don't know, like $11 billion to Ukraine, zero to the EPA for Ohio. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I give Trump 100% kudos for going there and doing what he did, but I think one of our Congress or whomever up there in Washington should have come down there first before he went to Ukraine
Sure. You
and
would just
deal with the problems within the United States first. Major accident with chemicals.
right.
Hello, ding ding
It's
ding ding.
kind of important. Maybe time
Yeah,
now. I don't know.
yeah,
Fuck,
exactly.
man.
Yeah, I know it's crazy.
You guys had the same when I was out in Colorado. Actually, I remember that was when fracking was like really at a peak, and
Yeah,
people's like faucets were catching on fire and shit like that. That's a big deal.
that is yeah.
Probably still is,
I
I
will.
assume.
Uh, Not lately. I mean,
Okay.
I've been here since 2017.
Okay.
Um,
I left in 15.
okay, yeah, they might have put that fire out.
I still get letters in the mail for mineral trying to buy my mineral rights for the property down south though. I still get those.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause I assume they want to frack on it or whatever they fucking want to do. Yeah, I always get those in the mail still this day.
So you own property? Do you
Yeah,
have a
yeah, I
house
have
on it or
right
anything?
there, Castile County, 30 miles east of Alamosa is like the
Okay.
biggest town, I suppose. The Santa de Cristo Ranches. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
You have the Sandu National Forest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mile
Yep.
north of that, right from the border, right there. You can see
Okay.
it from the
I
southern
think I know
view.
what you're talking about.
It's beautiful. I mean, like I don't even have an address. It is literally grid coordinates.
That's good.
I swear to
It's
God,
over
yeah.
it's over by that alligator farm.
What's that?
There's an alligator farm out there.
Is it really?
Yeah, and you would never know it. And like if you go west of the dunes
Yeah.
on this little highway, there's like this alligator farm.
Like in the middle
I
of
was like,
Colorado.
don't go there. People getting eaten over there. I'm like, okay, we're not gonna go.
I
So
have it on my to-do list anyways.
yeah, exactly.
So what else is like retired life? I mean, you're killing the gym. I know. Wait, last year you did a Spartan race, right?
I did. I
How
did
was
a Spartan
that?
race for the. It was awesome. We did the. What was it? The 10K. Started out good. It was flipping like 110 degrees that
Oh
day.
shit.
So it's like, I mean, everybody was walking. It was massive hot. I mean the water was hot at every station, but
Oh
they
man.
couldn't keep ice coming in. A lot of people, went down in heat exhaustion, but it was fun. I liked it because we did it with a group of, an officer of mine that I worked with. He's a triathlon runner. He's a cross
Okay.
country runner. He's up there in the mountains right now doing like a over 14,000 peak triathlon right now.
Oh shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was fun. It pushed me to a little bit my limits, but it was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, and then
So
you finished it, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do it again this year. So in Colorado, and then um, I'm doing the Pikes Peak, hiking the Pikes Peak again.
that's
I'm going
fun.
to do some other. Yeah, it's just I'll have more time now to do stuff that I wanted to, like the Spartan race, which
Yeah.
the Spartan race was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, just you see people from different like countries come,
Yeah, I know. It's a big
especially,
deal.
and
Like I
they were
remember
even
hitting
saying
you
that it
up
was
for
hot.
advice before we did ours,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, how was that?
oh my gosh. Well, I was able to run the first 10 miles. It was a 13-mile one. And then the last 3 miles, I was like, my legs were so cramped. I remember getting to the rope at the end, and I'm like, fuck this. I'll do burpees.
Yeah,
I'm going to fall. I'm going to bust my shit. So, yeah, but it was cool. I
yeah,
mean, I did it. It was a week after one of my strongman competitions. So, like,
I
I literally
remember
went
that.
from zero cardio to fucking cardio really quick.
Yeah,
So that was cool. That was fun. We
yeah.
wanted to do one this year, but there were none close at all. So we signed up for like it's called the Festivus Games with the same group of people.
Okay,
It's like a
yeah,
CrossFit competition. We're
right.
gonna do that and kind of keep me straight until my next strongman comp in June.
That's good.
Yeah,
You're
man.
killing that strongman stuff, man. That's good.
I'm trying.
Killing it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to go. I want to qualify for the Arnold this year to go next year. That's kind of my goal. The wife,
You'll
me and
get
I
it.
made a deal that she'll go to the Arnold if I compete. It's always on her birthday weekend, so that's always like a conflict of interest. So
You'll make it, man. I mean, you
it's
got
like a
it.
lot of ifs. If I do this and then if I do this, I'll get to go.
Yeah. So like a lot of like you say ifs, and I always say to people, it's not if, it's you will.
That's
That's
like I
how
keep
my
telling
goal.
myself. Like I'm gonna come correct. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people doubt themselves, and I think doubting not yourself, you, but other people like my daughter, like I said, you have to do this. She's like, well, I don't know if I can. I was like, you will do it. You can do it. And as long as you have a positive mind, you have a positive outcome. And that's my whole big thing. Like on my signature block, you have a positive mind, positive outcome. You have to stay positive about everything you do. And if you don't want to do it, you got to do it. It's
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
do I want to go to the gym every day? No, but I need to.
Well, it's like that's a discipline. I always say like motivation gets you here, discipline gets you here, 100%.
Exactly.
And like, yeah,
Absolutely.
obviously you're a disciplined individual, so it's just part of your routine, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to be disciplined. I mean, family doesn't like it because I'm like, I get up early in the morning still, and I'm like, the time regimen. I'm like,
Yeah,
come on, guys, we got to get going. They're like, Dad, you're not in the military anymore. I was like, yeah, but I've been doing this for like 20 years. And she's like, stop. I'm like, okay. It's different, being home with your daughter and your wife after being away for so long.
yeah,
It's an eye opener of what your wife has done behind the scenes raising a family. And I give my wife my 100% credit for raising our daughter from me being in the military, being away, deployments, training, late nights, and this and that. I had no idea what she went through. So
sure.
I do it.
What was that like? I mean, what is that like for you? Being 6 years deployed, that's 6 years missed out. And then I know, as we all know, the time in the field, like you said, the late nights, the bullshit.
Yeah. But so I wasn't married when I was, she's been with me for, let's see, Africa, Iraq, Afghanistan, four deployments.
Okay.
So it's so two of those were Afghanistan, one of them Iraq, and one Africa, which I came home for. Um, she did a lot. I mean, she like when we were in Afghanistan in 2010, 2011. Our daughter was like 4 years old, and that was kind of like a an eye opener. You know, like how do you deal with having a full time job, taking our daughter to school and this and that, and coming home and dealing with being with mom the whole entire time, and then me coming home. You're like, oh, dad's home, and
Right.
it's like you gotta set priorities, and you have to like. A lot of people say when you come home from a combat deployment or any kind of training, mom is in charge. You are there. You're the dad, you're the father, you're the husband, but you have to respect her space as well because she is the one raising your son or daughter or whoever. And until you understand the behind the scenes addition, you
Sure.
know, you have no idea because you get up in the morning at 5 o'clock, you go to work. You don't come home until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night,
Right.
and your wife, girlfriend, whoever is dealing with the behind the scenes. You don't see the crying and screaming and carrying on and stuff like that. So,
No,
which
and
I'm
that's
glad.
actually really good advice. I wish that was like spoken more openly about because like that would help a lot of people because time stops for us but doesn't stop for everybody else. We come back
Right.
expect like we left yesterday, but that's been a
Yeah.
whole year of a year's a long time. I have little boys and that's a big chunk of time for a
It is a
4-year old
big.
especially.
It's huge, and it's like you talk to her on the phone, and then you get off the phone, and it's like the wife's like, I don't think this is a good time to talk to her because she's gonna like have a meltdown. Which is, but she also asks questions. Where's daddy? Where's daddy? What's daddy doing? And then when I was in Afghanistan in 2018, I got the FaceTime. She got a phone and I had a phone, and we could FaceTime each other every day. So that made it easier.
Sure.
With the technology these days, I think for soldiers and officers to deal with their parenting skills is good because you can actually see them. It's
Yeah.
not like we were in 2004 or 2011. We're on a cop. Everybody's on a base now where you have actual internet. Like back
Right.
in 2010, it's like spotty.
Right, well, I'm sure that helped a ton. I can't imagine and like being over there without kids and now having kids. Like it makes me empathize with the people who had kids when we were over there because like it was easy to be reckless for me. Like who cares, But
Yeah,
like having kids at home, like fuck, that's heavy,
yeah,
man.
that's huge. I mean, like going into combat, like when we took contact at one time when Austin was talking about it in the Wadi
Yeah,
when you got hurt. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking die. But I was not thinking about my family at the time. I was thinking about the family that I was with,
sure.
saving the men and women that were on the ground, returning fire, and getting out of that wadi as fast as we could, um, and ensuring that we can get home, they can get home, and I can get home to my family and their families as well.
Right.
Brother, sister, mom, dad, whoever. So, but our family at then, like you're still my family. I still care about you. I mean, you guys were my family there. So
And
that
like I
was my
think, like you
main
said,
priority.
if there's one break in the circle where someone starts to think about something else, it fucks everybody else around them. So keeping that chain
Exactly.
tight, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of
And
sense.
it's the ripple effect. It's like I've told soldiers this before. You have to look outside. Like you're looking into a narrow scope of okay. I have a rifle. There's an enemy, but you have to think about the radio. You have to think about the other people that are in your vehicle. You have to think about what's coming in, what's overhead, and like what like Sebi was doing on the radio, what Jake was doing on the radio, Peterson, what I was doing on the radio. There's a lot of things going through your mind at one point, and you have to have discipline to stay calm, not just kind of freak out, and to make sure that you get through the objective, kill as many enemies as you can, and then return home. And that was my whole priority.
And I think actually, towards like the end, our group we had in each gun truck, because I know we kind of went through a few people figuring out who was best where. I think we really, at least our gun truck, we had it so dialed in. I mean, me, Novak, Weir, Austin, and Jake. I mean, we were super dialed in. You know, like we didn't even need to talk half the time. You know,
Yep.
Novak was doing his thing.
No bad thing.
And, we were all doing our own thing. It worked out really well.
Yeah. But yeah, that was funny. Like I know that I don't know if you designed this.
Yeah, I did. I drew that one up. I drew both of them up.
Did you?
Yeah, they wanted to look like the Allman Brothers.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
I think this is the first patch.
yeah. That's so awesome. I have that one. I don't know where my other one went. Um,
And I think you helped me do that one for Alpha Company.
yeah, I drew those too. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
I have that one
Yep.
too.
And then I'm sure you remember this one
Yeah,
too.
I still have that one also. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah. So like these are like things that I remember and they sell these online. And I told Sevi, and he's like, "What?" Sevi's like, "We need to have that like protected." I'm like, "Well, there's dudes out there wearing it."
Wait, you
And
sell those online?
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
oh.
I don't sell them. There's people that online that sell these. So if people are watching this podcast and see this, that the 3316 ANOG is always outnumbered, never outgunned. Produced by Austin Owens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was this team that designed this and you helped design it. And other ODA teams are actually wearing it out there.
No
The old like
shit.
so I kind of forgot where I put this, and so I was like I couldn't remember what it looked like. So I went downstairs and I found it. Then I went online and it popped up on these like websites for people to buy, and it's like I saw these guys on an ODA team wearing it, but it was all black and white, but it didn't have the ANOG. It was all 3316, and then I saw another one, the same design, same color. It's like I called 70. I was like, dude, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's like weird, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Completely weird.
Why
Yeah.
would a team wear another team's huh, whatever.
Riding off someone else's coattails, I guess.
That's crazy. That's so cool you
Yeah.
still have those though. And that's yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, that's exactly where the name of this podcast came from.
Yep.
I love that motto. I actually on all my heavy sandbags and kegs, I write it on there. So as soon as I pick up this fucking 250-pound sandbag, I see that and like, hey man, and the cards may be against me, but I'll fucking do it. We'll get through it. I never forget Sevi, man. He was like, I don't give a fuck. Just put rounds down range. Make them think we were fucking manned up,
Yeah, exactly.
It worked.
That's why we always won with two 240s or two Mark 48s on each vehicle.
Yeah.
We always had, the 50 cal. You guys had the 50 cal, or you had the minigun, and then you always had like a plethora of ammo.
Yeah, it was Mark 19, 50 cal, Mark 44, and then each truck had two 240s in it. And
And
obviously we
then,
had our M4s too for
yep, and then
dismount.
each
Yeah. Oh
seat
yeah.
on the backside unit, the AT4s had like 3 or 4 AT4s per
Yeah. Yeah. The
vehicle.
turrets.
Like
A few
rocket
laws.
out, you get out, and I think Mark, one time we were in a tick, it was a Mark, or I can't remember, but he was like, fuck it, Kunkel, rock it out. And I'm like, what? And he was like, I'm like, oh, okay. Straight
Didn't
to
he go on a
Pearl Hill.
patrol with a fucking bolt action one time? Or
Hmm.
something? Yeah. Right. Or no, it was M1 Grand. That's what it was.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was like,
Yep.
oh, he walked out of the fucking Connex. I'm like, all right, well, that's how he was like, that dude is so combat hardened. He actually just tried to challenge himself. Like, yeah, I might as well make it handicap for me. Like,
Yeah.
great.
So me and Sevi got talking on the deployment, and he was actually in the 25th
Okay.
in Missoula, and me and him probably fought in the same time frame as in 2004.
Okay, that's crazy.
So, and he's like, we were talking. He was like, "Do you know where this child?" I was like, "Yeah, man." He was like, "Do you know where this is and this is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was there." And he was like, "I was like, did you ever pick up guys from First ID?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, we picked them up on the ground." I was like, "It was probably me back in the day because we came out of the sniper hide in the city of Missoula, and the strikers came down, and it was the first time we saw strikers, and they had strikers, and with big cages around them and the RPG
Oh,
cages.
sure.
So we get in there, and we're like going through the city, and they dropped us off at our cop. And he's like, "Yeah, that was probably me, and as a driver or a gunner or a dismount or whatever." And I was like, "That's pretty cool."
That's
That was
crazy.
fast. forward like 10 years and 38 team in pennants.
That's yeah, that's insane. Super small world. You
Oh,
remember
super.
remember 20th group?
Oh yeah.
Those guys were like party animals, to say the least. It was awesome. That was such a cool introduction.
Yeah. That they the hillbillies of pennants, to say
That's
the least.
that's so
They
perfect. The hillbillies of
they did,
Fetish.
but they didn't really like going up the hill, like going past Pooh Hill.
No, they definitely kept it. Well, they were at the end, right? They're like, fuck this. We're about to dip out soon. They like dialed it back for sure when we got there.
Oh yeah.
And then when third group got there, obviously we like hit the pedal to the metal. And then
Oh, that's
fifth
fun.
group, when I went to fifth group, they were really trying to push the limits without having much awareness, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I
for
don't know.
sure.
And I'm pretty sure Garrett probably would have talked to you about those guys because he had a lot of
Mhm.
conflict because he was kind of the higher up for us, and he had a lot of
Yeah.
conflict with those guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
I can
But
imagine.
yeah, like because I had like this. Bryant was on my gun truck. Oh, he was in another gun truck. Um, Man, I remember going down to the city building and getting ambushed on the way back, and or going downtown in the middle of the nighttime and Sevi or somebody fucking popping off. Remember the 18 Bravo? I can't remember his name. Is Mike?
Randy.
Michael? Not Randy, the other young guy, the younger one. Because I think
Hmm.
Randy was the one that got his finger cut off.
Yeah, that's a great story.
And
Yeah.
and so the young 18 Bravo, me and him, became friends, and we moved the contact one night in the city center, and then he's like throwing fucking 2 or 3 rounds into like the cornfields where they took contact, and then the whole cornfield's on fire. And he's like, "Fuck it," that the Taliban are in there, they're gonna be on fire now. I was like, "Okay." And I don't know if you remember, we were doing Rocket Day up on the hill.
Yeah.
So we did Rocket Day, and then me and him were in the side by side, and we were on our way back. And so me and him got on the side by side of the Razor, and I was like, look at that car coming down the valley. And so we had the ALP with us. Um, I think they weren't with us, but the ALP were in town doing some maneuvers or whatever. And we interdicted, just me and him interdicted this vehicle, right? I don't know if you remember this, but we stopped the vehicle, questioned them, and we had the interpreter, and then we got them on the ground and opened up the trunk, and it was all these weapons and IED making stuff, and it's like
Wow, I don't remember
ALP
that.
got, yeah, it was we basically like they're coming down the valley. The Razor, he was driving, he's hauling ass, so we like blocked them on this little trail, and then we called like the team to come down and like, hey, we got some shit going on over here, and come to find out they were coming from Packy, and they had like I'd say like 10 weapons and a bunch of magazines and ammo, and yeah, so the ALP interdicted and took those guys, and I don't know whatever happened to them. So
Yeah, that was.
bunch of
There's
shitheads,
always
bunch
some
of
shit like
shitheads.
that.
I mean, that whole valley was just full of people coming back and forth. I mean, especially on that border, it
Yeah.
was it was riddled with.
Well, the way I kind of told people in the past was like the Taliban would kidnap the male of the family and tell him to shoot the rockets at the Americans. He shoots the rockets at the Americans, he gets killed. Then they go to the kids and say, "Hey, look what the Americans did to your father. What are you going to do about it?" And that was like the perpetuating cycle, and it never
Oh
ended.
yeah,
Like you can't.
sucks.
Yeah, I just want. I mean, they've been Afghanistan's been tried to be conquered how many times now? I mean, over the last thousands of years.
Yeah,
It's
I don't think it'll ever be conquered, man.
yeah,
That's that's. I mean, you got to think. What was it Attila the Hun or whoever went over there and they try to conquer it. The Russians try to conquer it, and they
yeah,
still have those mines over there from the Russians. I mean,
yeah,
the
right.
Russians.
They're still using hand-me-down AKs from the Russians from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that Kenich turned into what was it not a marketing, but a quarry facility.
Really?
Yeah. So remember, I don't know if you were with us towards the end, but this guy came out and was looking in the mountains, and pulling these rocks down, and we put them in these excavators, and he wanted like they wanted to help the Afghans mine some of the areas out there. And after, I guess after we left, I got on Google and I kind of went on Penich, and you could see all these piles of rocks, and I was like, what is going on there? So I guess it turned into like a mining facility for
That's crazy.
the Kaskunar
Huh.
because they are rich and there's a lot of gold out there in those mountains,
I didn't know
diamonds.
that.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of minerals, and that I think that's why the Chinese wanted to go over there and get into those mountains and start mining those mountains.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would have
Yeah,
never thought. You know, what are the chances?
yeah.
Is Manuel gone? I assume. I mean, I assume, right? I mean, I wonder if the
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think he might be in the states now.
what's that?
You talking about Manuel?
Yeah, yeah. I assume that's gone, right? That whole base or whatever you want to call it. OP.
Manguel?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you said Manuel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No.
Manuel, the little
Oh,
Jim's little town.
oh yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. Didn't really want to go over there very much, and it was just fucking shady over
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Super
it
shady.
was. I mean, he wrote a book after that whole thing. So
Yeah, I saw the my dad. I mean, years ago at this point, sent me the ABC news story, and I was like, oh shit, you know, that's crazy
yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of people like. I mean, when I did advising after I left 116, there was people that knew Jim and knew the ODA team. And the unit that replaced us over there. I don't think they knew what they were getting themselves into when they went to Manguel.
Yeah, sure.
Manguel is a totally different podcast we could talk about.
Yeah,
Um, we'd have to probably talk first
part
to
two.
get Frank. Part two, yeah, exactly.
I'm all for
But yeah,
that. Well, to
but yeah,
change gears real quick.
yeah.
So what you said you have like a PT test for the academy. Like, what are your fitness goals? I'm gonna change gears real hard.
No, you're good. My fitness goals are to, just to be strong and be athletic, um, for to ensure that I can endure a long distance, long durations. Basically the same kind of fitness goals that I have, I've always had really.
Yeah, sure.
Just sustain long hours with, body armor on, be able
Yeah.
to take down a person that's twice the size of me. Um, I mean, the police force is different. So like they're gonna have to do an Illinois agility test, which you have to like run up, down, in between cones. I got to do a 300-meter sprint. Then I got to do the beep test. I don't know if you know what the beep test is.
No.
So it's a 20-meter distance, and there's like 21 different shuttles with 21 different levels, and each level is like 4 or 5 levels. So level one, you got to run it like 4 times. Level two, three, and you have to get to level 4 or 5 to pass, which is fine. It's like a half mile. So I've been working at the gym, on the grass over there since everything's all frozen up out here.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of cardio, a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of getting mentally right, I guess.
No, that makes sense.
Thinking because I think my biggest change from going from the military is going from the military mindset to the civilian mindset. And I think what helped me getting to go from the military to civilian to police is doing ride-alongs with the police, talking to them, their jargon, their call signs, and actually having the last 6 months of my career being able to look for a job, get my resume ready, talk to people in a civilian sense.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people don't understand, like when you talk to a military person, we use a lot of acronyms or short terms, and civilians don't have any idea. What's a Bronze Star? Oh, well,
Yeah, sure.
it's what's a meritorious service medal? You know, what's a PT test? They have no idea, and I think that's helped me, to reach my get ready for my fitness goal. I mean, mentally and physically, more mentally and physically, more mentally because
No, that
mental
makes
is
a lot of
hard to
sense. Like
achieve.
you were saying before, like you have to have that mental clarity, even to perform physically. You know. So I
Absolutely.
mean that has to come first, for sure.
Yeah. Because a lot of veterans, I mean, I'm not trying to like change the subject, but a lot of veterans these days deal with mental issues. And I see it every day with friends of mine. I've
Yeah.
had friends that have committed suicide. And so, but yeah,
And it's actually like now that I'm working with Catch a Lift, it's awesome to be able to give back and get these veterans back into working out because we both know it's I don't want to say it's crucial, but it's a huge impact on your mental health. I mean,
it's
huge.
huge. It's huge. I mean, I go to the YMCA. I don't go to the military base anymore because I want to get out of that, military mindset. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good to go over there, but I also need to be near regular people. I hate to say that, but it's like
No, I get you.
if I'm working with civilians, I can understand, I can hear different acronyms, terms on how people um, just work every day. It's different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's you. Yeah, like you said, you can't talk to people the same way. It
No,
doesn't work like that. And even physically, obviously, like I'm assuming you're hands on is last resort for a police officer. Being
mhm.
able to de-escalate. That's you're. I mean, I know the joke is you're basically a psychologist out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it
And
makes a lot of
everybody's
sense.
got everybody's got a phone, and so like you have to be understanding of like your surroundings and what you're doing and how you treat people. I think how you treat people these days will go farther than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Makes perfect sense. That first impression is everything, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when they already have a biased opinion about the department in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up here. I wish you luck in at the academy, and I know you'll do great.
Yeah. I
Do you have anything
appreciate it.
else you want to say to the audience before we head out of here?
Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in and talking and listening to us talk about our stories and stuff. And hopefully, me and Austin can come back on here if he allows me to come back on here and talk about. Maybe we can bring some other people in
Yeah. Get a third
and
party.
talk to them. Yeah,
I love that
um,
idea.
I'm gonna I'm gonna reach out to you after this podcast and talk about some stuff that I think that might be interesting.
Okay.
Um, for some ideas
All right.
that I think
Well,
will.
thank you for being here, man, and thank you for tuning in. Until next time.